All right, guys, today's question is rates are high. Should you buy?
You better get fired up.
Lissette, how you doing?
I'm awesome, Joe. How are you?
Awesome too, man. I appreciate you. So today we're going to talk about mortgage rates. That's kind of the story here in real estate is mortgage rates going up and up and up. They were in the twos. I even heard of a couple people who had high ones a couple years ago. And, they hovered between 2 and 4 for a long time. And now they've gotten up to 5, 6, 7. We've even seen some in the 8s. So nobody really knows what the rates are going to do in the coming months, right? Plus, we got an election year. That's going to throw another wrench in the mix here. So the question is, if I'm a buyer, you and I hear it all day long, Lissette, I'm going to wait until prices come down. I'm going to wait until rates come down. But we've heard this, either prices or rates, for honestly the last decade, because prices have been coming up for 11 years since 2012. And all of those missed opportunities to start building that wealth. But then I look at the fact that, hey, we're realtors. We're a little biased. Obviously, we're trying to sell houses here. So let's look at the realistic view of buyers. Should they be buying or not right now? And maybe the best way we start this is, what are some scenarios where you wouldn't recommend that somebody buys right now with high rates?
I think just right off the top is it a temporary situation? Are you moving to a new town for a temporary job placement where you might not be there for the next 2 years? You're going to be moving right back out. That might not be the best option for you to purchase a home. You might just want to rent it out. Maybe you're moving to a new location and you're testing it out. Maybe you do want to be there for 5, 10 years, but it's your first year there and you really don't know the area. You don't know what school system maybe fits perfect, better for your child. Test it out for the first year, 12 months. And then after 12 months, I usually tell my buyers, you either know you love it or you're moving right back where you came from.
Yep. Yeah, and that's a great point. And for a couple reasons, right? You're going to have closing costs on the buy side. You're going to have closing costs on the sell side. So if you're only going to be there for a year or two, those closing costs kind of scratch out any equity that you'd likely build because you're paying down your mortgage or appreciation or the two of them. So it doesn't make a lot of sense to do it for that reason, right? It's also just going to be more challenging. You've got a lot more loopholes to jump through. With a closing, we're looking at, roughly 30 to 45 days. It's a lot of back and forth emails and calls and texts with title companies and inspectors and appraisers. Whereas if you're going to rent, it's an application and you're either in or you're out, right? It's pretty simple. So I think that is a great example of when not to purchase. Are there any other examples that you would throw out there?
If you are someone that's looking to invest into a property and you think you're going to do a quick flip, maybe right now not the right market for that. Maybe it's more of a buy and hold. So if you're looking to flip something quickly, I would say maybe hold off and take a second and reevaluate your options and try to see where best that investment might be fit. Maybe holding out and renting it out long term might be a better option for you.
I love that you said that. Right now with my renters, I'm telling them, hey, if you're going to flip, that's great. But if the market goes south, could you rent it out and would you rent it out? And if the answer is yes, go nuts. But if it's not, maybe you want to hold back a little bit and kind of readjust what it is you're looking to do. Another thought is some of these people who are staying for a year or two, I'm going back to my Army roots here. A lot of times people in the Army would go to wherever it is they're going and they would purchase a home and then they'd ship out 2, 3, 4 years later and they would keep that house but rent it out. And then by the time they got done from a 20, 30-year career, they had 3, 4, 5, 6 rental homes. If you're able to do that, if you want to do that, if that's part of your investment strategy for your retirement or short-term or whatever it is, great. Then I would say even more reason to look into purchasing. If it's not something you want to do, again, what Lissette and I are sharing here are probably recommendations that would even more so be true and you would not want to purchase. Lissette, are there any other circumstances you can think about where you would not want to purchase right now?
What if there's a major life-changing circumstance that you're anticipating? Maybe you're looking to get married in the next few years.
Yeah.
Maybe you have children that are leaving the house and you might be downsizing in the future anyways.
Yep.
Maybe right now it's just holding on tight, holding on to that property that you have, maybe at a great interest rate instead of making that jump right away and holding off if you know that you're going to have to make a big change in the next few years.
Yeah, exactly. And just kind of planning that out is a great recommendation. I love that. Another one that I would bring up is if you just escaped my mind. It just escaped my mind, of course.
Age.
Age, yeah. You're talking about me right now. Yeah, exactly. Oh, I know what I was going to say. If you're low on funds, a lot of people will say, hey, I don't have the cash to do this, so I think I'm going to hold off until I do. But you got to think about it. If you're going to rent anyway, right? You're looking at maybe on the lower end, 2,000 right now for a rental in Port St. Lucie. If you're that's below average. If you're looking for an average, you're looking in that 24 to 2,600 range. So let's just say 2,500. Most people, most landlords are going to want to see first, last, and deposit. That's $7,500 on a pretty average rental right now. Well, with $7,500, you might have options purchasing, right? If you've got a little bit more than that, you got some options purchasing. So if you've got the ability to rent, which a lot of those people are going to require a minimum credit score, and they're going to require first, last, and deposit. So you've got to have a certain amount of cash. They're also going to look at your income, and they're going to want to see that you've got 3 times the monthly income. So if you're looking for a $2,500 apartment house, whatever it is, they're going to want to see that you're bringing in $7,500 a month. Well, if you're bringing in that much a month and you've got the credit to rent and you've got the cash to do it, you might be able to have the cash to purchase, right? So let's delve a little bit into the numbers now and talk about why maybe you would recommend some people purchasing right now.
I think for those individuals that have been on the fence for maybe the past year or two and really desire to purchase a property, but they keep holding off thinking, well, I'm just going to wait for the bubble to burst. I'm just going to wait for the prices to decrease a little bit. And then what do you have in the meantime? Now we have interest rates going up. So these people are on the fence waiting and waiting, waiting to pull the trigger. And what they're doing is actually missing an opportunity. So for those that, know that this is a long-term game, they really wanted to get into a property, start talking to your realtor, start talking to your lender, figure out what the numbers are. And if you're ready to go, don't wait for the bubble to burst, in other words, because it might just not, and you might keep on missing the opportunity you've been waiting for.
Yeah, exactly. And to go to your point, I mean, I've had people I got to Florida 4 years ago, and that was kind of when everything kicked off and just got hot and heavy. And people said as prices were going up, hey, I'm going to wait. And prices have dang near doubled, right?
Mhm.
And I would call them every 6 months. Hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? No, we're going to keep waiting until prices come down. Well, now where prices are, they could come down 20, 30%, and those people would still have lost money because they didn't buy originally, say 4 years ago or however long ago, right? Well, the same is true with rates. Right now, you're saying, hey, rates are really high. I'm going to wait till rates come down. Right now, the one thing that is keeping the market healthy here in Florida as compared to a lot of other states in the nation is the fact that a lot of people like Lissette, you and I both have really good mortgage rates right now, right? We're not too excited to get rid of our mortgage rate to go find another house. We'll stay put right now. Well, a lot of sellers are thinking that, or a lot of homeowners are thinking that. So we have very low inventory on the market. And because we have low inventory, it doesn't matter that the demand is lower because rates are so high if the supply is also lower, right? So what you're going to have is if rates do come down, say to 6%, 5.5%, 5%, you're going to have a flood of buyers coming, and now prices are going to go up. So yeah, you got your dream on rates, but now you're going to pay more in prices, and that's going to be challenging too, right? And I look at this not so much as sales. I mean, now my business is going well enough. I don't even think about it as sales anymore. I look at it as I want to help you. And when I see the same people with the same mentality over and over and over for months and years saying, I'm going to wait till this perfect thing happens, this perfect thing happens, this perfect thing happens. And the whole time I'm looking at other people who are 22, 25, 29 years old buying. And then they're calling me 3-4 years later. They want to sell and they're getting a 5-6 figure check. Man, it's awesome. But then when I run into those people who keep coming up with reasons not to do it, I just think, man, I want to help this person. So guys, this is why we do these videos. We want to see you make good decisions. I think numbers are an incredibly important part of this, not just listening to a couple realtors who obviously we sell houses. We'd love to see you buy, right? Don't just take our word for it. Sit down with a loan expert, sit down with a realtor and actually put numbers to paper. Run a scenario. How does it look if I rent over the next 5 years with what I can assume is going to happen? How does it look if I buy over the next 5 years if what I assume is going to happen happens? If rates go down and I get in right now and my rate is 7.5%, can I refi? If I do refi, how would that impact it? If you run those numbers, it'll take you 20, 30 minutes with an expert. And now you're going to be in a position where you can make a good, logical, numbers-based, fact-based decision that'll help your future. Lissette, any thoughts on that?
No, that's great what you just pointed out. It's so important to know your numbers and also not to live on fear and not make the
Yeah.
decision, not pull the trigger because you're afraid. Oh, what if I'm making a bad decision because the prices are going to drop? If your numbers work for you and you're in it for the long haul and you plan on keeping that property for the next few years, you're going to gain equity. You may be able to refinance in the future. So, just for those people that keep waiting, I have in the back of my head that have been waiting for the past 2 years are still holding out today. And it's just sad
Yeah.
because they missed an opportunity back then.
Yep. Guys, if you want to discuss specific numbers for you, feel free to reach out to either one of us. We're more than happy to sit down with you either through a Zoom call or in person, and we'll literally put numbers to paper to see, does it make sense to you, right? And if it doesn't right now, we can look at what would have to happen for it to make sense. And now in 20 minutes, you've got a plan moving forward. You're in a pretty good position. So anytime you want to do that, reach out. Lissette, I appreciate you coming today. Thank you very much as always. And guys, if you ever have any topics you'd like to see us touch on in the future, let us know and we'll certainly do that. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks, Joe. Have a good one.